Hello everyone, welcome to another lecture of Cost and Works Accounting. In today's session, we will be discussing on uniform costing. We will be studying meaning, definition, scope, requisites, causes of difference in cost, areas covered and advantages of uniform costing. I, Dr. S.R. Pagare from K.J. Somaiya College of Arts, Commerce and Science, welcome you to this session. Let's see the meaning of the term uniform costing. The term uniform costing means the use of same costing principles and or practices by several undertakings. Let's see the definition. Uniform costing is defined as a body of principles and accounting methods which, when adopted in the accounting system of a firm, enables obtaining cost and accounting figures by individual undertakings within an industry which will be fully comparable. Scope of uniform costing. Uniform costing can be applied in a single enterprise having a number of manufacturing units or branches under the same ownership and management. Second, it can be applied in a number of undertakings engaged in the same to follow a similar pattern of costing. Third, it can be applied in industries which are different but engaged in similar line of trade. Let's see what are the objectives of uniform costing. First, to help comparison between different units of the industry. Second, to fix common sale price. Third, to make available better system for the units. Fourth, to facilitate inter-firm comparison. Fifth, to encourage exchange of ideas among the different units. Sixth, to improve production capacity and labor efficiency. And seventh, to eliminate unhealthy competition. Requisites for installation of uniform costing system. Certain conditions are desirable for effective introduction and successful implementation of uniform costing method. These conditions or requisites are as follows. First, willingness in the participant units to share their secrets regarding methods of production, collection and preservation of cost. Second, there should be mutual trust, confidence and cooperation among all the member units. Third, large-sized organizations must help small-sized organizations. Fourth, there should be a sense of competition among the member units. Fifth, there should be a basic similarity in the products produced by the organization, methods and process of production, capital and cost structures. Sixth, every member unit should have the willingness to share technical know-how and efficiency. 7. There should be willingness to exchange of information regarding utilization of men, material and machines. 8. Use of common terminology and procedure regarding cost ascertainment and cost control. 9. There should be a proper system of preparing uniform cost manual. 10. A standard system of reporting to management should be maintained. Now let's see what are the causes of difference in cost. Difference in cost between various firms arises due to following factors. First, difference in size of firm. Second, difference in size of organizational structure. Third, difference in geographical location. Fourth, difference in method of production. Fifth, difference in production facilities. Sixth, difference in levels of efficiency. Seventh, difference in productivity. Eighth, difference in extent of idle capacity and facilities. 9th, difference in rates of pay and other welfare facilities. 10th, difference in costing principles and procedures adopted by different firms. Areas covered by uniform costing. Uniform costing may operate successfully only in those units which follow uniform accounting principles, methods and procedures. Uniformity should be in following areas. Costing methods to be used. Second, cost unit and cost center. Third, technique of costing. Fourth, definition of various elements of cost and classification of cost. Fifth, classification and codification of accounts. Sixth, methods of valuing inventories and pricing issues. Seventh, methods of allocation and apportionment of overheads. Eighth, methods and rates of depreciation. Ninth, treatment of defective work, waste, spoilage and scrap. 10th, costing period and methods of depreciation. 11th, interest on capital. 12th, treatment of material receiving and handling charges. 13th, interest on capital. 14th, overtime calculation. 15th, methods of remunerating labor and providing incentives. 16th, system of material control. 17th, treatment of research and development cost. 18th, cost statements and reports. 19th, allocation and apportionment of joint cost. And lastly, treatment of non-cost items or expenses such as interest on own capital, rent on own building, etc. Now let's study the advantages of uniform costing. It is useful for management control as performance of individual unit can be measured as per the set norms for the industry as a whole. Second, uniform costing assists in the standardization of operations and performance in the industry. Third, it avoids cutthroat competition among the member units. Fourth, comparison helps in locating weak spots and the remedial action is taken wherever necessary. Fifth, weaker members can take an advantage of the efficient methods of production and production control of the better managed units so as to increase their own efficiency. Sixth, uniform costing provides stability in the industry. Seventh, it creates cost consciousness by showing the best way of doing things. 8. It provides the best system of cost control and cost presentation in the entire industry. 9. Uniform costing helps the government by providing suitable data for effective price control. 10. Uniform costing creates customer confidence and improves relation between the customers and the business. 11. Uniform costing enables comparative assessment between public and private undertakings. 12. It makes easier to computerize the accounting system of various organizations due to similar cost classification and report layout. 13. Uniform costing makes possible the standardization of costing principles and practice. 14. The benefits of research and development experiment carried on by bigger units can be shared by smaller units without any expenditure on experiments. 15. It helps in submission of reliable costs to the statutory bodies such as Tariff Commission, Company Law Board, and various other government departments. 16. Uniform costing helps to detect the products, processes, or operations which are uneconomic or unprofitable. 17. Uniform costing helps in reducing labor turnover. 18. Uniform costing helps the trade associations to earn foreign exchange for the country. 19. Uniform costing helps in fixing of prices. And last, uniform costing helps the trade association in negotiating with the government on trade matters. Let's see the limitations of uniform costing. It is first one, it is difficult to lay down uniform methods and principles of cost analysis, ascertainment and presentation among units that vary in size and degree and nature of business. Second limitation, for small scale industries, the system becomes too expensive to operate the cost of installation and operation. Third, the main limitation of this system is that the individual firms may be unwilling to disclose the information relating to the cost and profitability. Fourth, it may create monopolistic tendencies with the industries. Fifth, the system may lead to raise prices and curtail the supplies to create shortage in market. Sixth, flexibility is affected as uniform costing may tend to rigid the cost system. Seventh, if the basic terminologies are not understood properly, it may create misunderstanding in interpreting the results. So in today's lecture, we have learned the concept, meaning and definition of uniform costing, scope and objectives of uniform costing, requisites for installing of uniform costing, causes of difference in cost, areas covered by uniform costing, and advantages and limitations of uniform costing. In next session, we shall study the next part of uniform costing. Till then, have a good time.